Hey everybody, it's December 26th, and I wanted to do a quick review of the previous week and talk about how some of these institutional trades could have helped navigate the ups and downs. What I have here is the disproportionately large trade screen showing from OPEX on December 16th, and I just wanted to highlight the fact that we saw, as I tweeted, and as you guys I'm sure noticed, an enormous amount of volume, and even by OPEX standards it was really, really large. And I have here sorted by dollars some of the largest trades here that have ever happened in some cases, like Microsoft here, $7.5 billion, 713 times larger than average in a single trade. And then there's a bunch of other trades to come with it. We have Apple with the 5th ranked trade, Amazon with the 4th, Exxon with the highest, Tesla, Google, CVX, goes on and on and on. Some of the biggest companies in the S&P all posting trades in the top 5 in its entire history. UNH, Meta, Nvidia, it goes on, Cisco, Home Depot. So this is just I just put this up here just to show that we have a point of reference now. This is an awful lot of volume, even by OPEX standards. It's larger in many cases than the volume that we saw last December OPEX, which was the top or close to the top for just about everything. So what we know here is we have a lot going on, and we can surmise that whichever way price breaks from this point may set the tone for the immediate term. So I want to look at Microsoft real quick, just because this was so, not only was it the largest ever, but it was the largest ever by a lot. It wasn't even close. And this is the trade here, $7.5 billion worth, it's 30 million shares. And I could show other trades too, and you'd see along these blue lines here a bunch of other trades show up. These blue lines are, again, trade clusters. For any date range that you choose, it's going to show you where the institutional trades are clustered. And we can see there's a cluster up here near this little peak, and then there are 3 lines here showing where there are 3 sets of clusters, all very close to one another, and they're listed over here on the left. And we can see that we have 15 billion here in one cluster at 244.70, and then we've got another 200 million, and then another 72 million. So these two are smaller, but still, for this day, and for any date range, it always shows the 5 largest. So for this day, you could see a lot of volume was coming in here right near the low. We got a little pop at the end of the day, and it came back down, and it closed here. So we know at this point that Microsoft, being one of the largest components of the S&P and QQQ, that it's likely to lead the way with the next move. And with this much volume, whichever way it breaks, it's reasonable to expect that the indexes will go with it. So at this point we don't know, but we have a line in the sand that we can track. And then if we look at Monday, we can see that even at the close Friday, it kind of meandered. It stayed up a little bit. And I don't know what this is here, but by Monday's open, straight down. And it went down all day. So we can surmise that this is either a sell or, well, it's certainly not a buy. It's possible that this could be some covering. There's probably a lot of options expiration stuff happening in here. But the point is that it wasn't net buying, and price quickly let us know that. So at this point, first thing in the morning, we know that things are looking down, and you can see, obviously, in hindsight's 2020, price went down pretty much all day. Got a little bit of a bounce here at the end of the day on the 20th, on Tuesday, but this set the tone. And we could look at Apple, and we could look at all the other mega caps, and we'd see a similar pattern. They all went down. Of course, QQQ went down as well. But this is where it gets interesting. So here at the close, or actually after the close on the 20th, we get this really, really large QQQ trade. It's 100 times larger than average. It ranks 19th, and I don't think the video is going to show this, but you can hover over these trades here, and you'll get a little tooltip that tells you some more information. 19th largest trade in QQQ is pretty darn big. Certainly not like that Microsoft trade and some of those other individual names we were looking at from the 16th, but this trade was larger than anything going back to, I think it was July, and I tweeted about this. And you can also see that in addition to this trade here, you've got 4 horizontal lines here, 4 clusters, all appearing over those 2 days, the 19th and 20th, right here in this spot. So you know this is a level that is reasonably important in this time frame. And again, the clusters are listed here, the number of shares, the price, and the dollars. So 2 billion, 1.5 billion, 850, 530, and 510. These 4 are all here. And if you hover over this, you can get some other information. It'll tell you the number of shares, the price, the dollars, the number of trades, and then the dates that those trades occurred on. So this coming in at a relative low after a day of selling. Actually, after 2 days of selling. So we sold all day Monday, and then Tuesday, I don't know, I wouldn't really call it selling, but it wasn't really anything. It was just sort of a sideways chop day. But this level held, and it closed here, and we see a little bit of a pop here after hours, which I don't generally take into account after hours trading. It's too thin. I guess if I'm planning to go long, I'd rather see it kind of go up a little bit than down, but it's difficult to draw a conclusion from this point, other than the fact that you could say the price is above this level. So at this point, I'm leaning buy on this, and if we pull up a historical chart, we look at the same a similarly sized trade from back in July, you'll see that it came also near a low and price went up for a little while. And I would think that if this was a sell, I would think it would come up here, but it didn't. But again, we never know. We just know that we have a place we can define risk against. If we could form a bias and conclude that we think it's going to go up, then we can set our stops just below, and if price breaks below, then we can stop out with a minimal loss. Likewise, if we do our homework and determine that we think that this is a sell, we can short or exit along if we head along and put a stop just above. And well, in this case, price is already trading above at this point, but something you could perhaps do in the overnight session. But as the overnight session went on, by 10 or 11 at night, I think we were up 0.5%, maybe a little bit more, and it seemed at that point to have gotten a little bit too far away from home to be a short or a sell, and we can pretty much conclude it was a buy. So if you're a futures trader, you have a sense that institutions went long at the close on Tuesday, and you could trade that accordingly, however it is that you choose to trade it. So then we get into the next day. We get into Wednesday's session, and as we suspected, it was a buy. Price goes up all day long. I think it was 269.54, and I tweeted about this. This is a really, really important level to watch, not just for this day, but for the next few days. And price goes up. It opens above. This is that 269.50 level from the previous day. It opens above in the early session, and at the open it goes straight up. So we know it's a long, and if we took longs, we'd be in really good shape, and we can ride it for as long as we think it makes sense to. And in this case, in my opinion, it makes sense to stop when you see this first large trade here. This was at 11:20 in the morning. So 2 hours in, not even 2 hours in, we see 1 million shares show up, and we see an immediate negative reaction here. We see price start to come down. Then we see 2 more big trades. So all 3 of these here are clustered near the high of the day, I guess within $1 or so of one another. And this suggests to me that they're selling. At least this one is selling. This is my first clue that the move is likely done. It doesn't mean that price is going to go straight down from here. It just means that it's less likely that price is going to continue to advance, because price has advanced to this level. We've got some selling right here, and maybe it does go up a little bit further, but it's not likely to go a lot further. So this is a good place to take your risk off if you had been long. It's not necessarily a place to go short. This is a day that's probably going to trend upwards and stay elevated, but it is a place to exit longs when you start to see this sort of thing. And then you can see price dips down, they buy back a little bit, they bring it back up, and then price gets just a little bit higher, get a tiny little higher high, and comes back down. But all in all, from this point forward, from this little peak, from where the point this trade arrived, at 273.93, just below 274, price didn't really go much further. It got a little bit higher here, but this isn't enough risk reward to continue to stay in the trade, in my opinion. This is your signal here to get out. And if you look, and we change this from the 3 largest trades to the 10 largest trades, we're likely to see a lot more trading here. And we did. So lots more presumably selling. Price stopped advancing. Lots and lots of volume comes in while price remains relatively flat. This is consolidation. This is often profit taking or selling into the strength of a rally. And you can see they're all kind of lined up here, all around the same level. And if you look at IWM, same pattern. IWM came straight up and then consolidated. It was a little bit weaker. But it followed the same pattern. It also started showing trades here near the high of day, and price stopped going. So you have 2 indexes now behaving the same way. And then you see SPY as well. SPY took a little bit longer, but we got 2 1.3 million share trades right up here, both in dark pools, and look, price comes straight down. Never gets higher than that for the rest of the day. So this is selling. This is just the closing trades, probably a mix of buying and selling. But the point is, we know big buy, selling into strength, and price stays flat. SPY, same way. IWM, same way. And so, at this point, we can start thinking, well, if they took it up and they're selling up here all day, what should we expect to happen next? And we can see that this trade here is 3 million shares. This was 93 times larger than average. And it's ranked in the top 100. This is substantial. This suggests to me that it is net selling. And the closing trades are special. It's everybody gets to participate. But this is an awful lot of volume. We know this was a sell. It seems to me that this is probably net selling as well. So price meanders on through the end of the session. And then into Thursday, we get, surprise, surprise, another big sell. And everything comes off. And it goes straight down all day. And what's interesting is as it fell really hard all day, it broke below, in QQQ's case, it broke below the level at which this trade came in, which was a big red flag. So if we pull this out to the 22nd, we can see that they bought here, they took it up, spent the rest of the day selling, and then I think it opened, if I recall, right here at this level, which is not a surprise at all because this is where they were positioned. They bring it right back down to this level, and right after the open, it just slices right through it. Doesn't even pause, and it goes straight down all day. So we knew at this point that this trade that they had previously taken a long against was closed out. They sold all that inventory up here. They maybe even added some shorts. But the point is we know this level is no longer valid. It's gone, and price slices through it, and it gets down here to this low around 262, 263. What's interesting is that at this point, if we look at UVXY, we can also detect when that little reversal is going to come, because UVXY trades. This isn't the biggest trade you'll ever see with UVXY, but this is large enough to suggest that the volatility of the day is ending. And so when this trade comes in, you can tell that QQQ and SPY and everything else are likely going to bounce, which is what they did. So by watching more than one ticker at a time, you can anticipate what the other ones are going to do. UVXY comes in, It goes up all day. They sell up here at the peak, which is what they do with the volatility ETFs. And as soon as they are done, UVXY starts falling quickly. Same thing, QQQ down here, goes up into the end of the day. And then we get some big trades here at the close. And if you look at UVXY, if you recall, a few weeks ago I put out a video and there was a big trade, the largest trade in a while here, this 1.34 million share trade. This was the first suggestion that the rally we got in October was probably ending. And we got a little bit of volatility up here. I think I took a long in here and I closed it out around here somewhere. I didn't get the whole move. But it stops here in the 780, 790 range, never got above 8. And then it retreats, retests, retreats again. And we got another volatile move here just after OPEX. Goes straight up and again stops. You can see the same level. Keeps stopping here, 780, 790 range. Come back down, makes a new low. And then this spike here is the spike from that action on Thursday. And even before that trade arrived, that marked the high, you could tell it was approaching that same zone where price had rejected multiple times over. Rejected here, rejected here, rejected here, and here. There's a trade up here to show that rejection as well. If we change this to the 10 largest trades, we'll see a better picture of where institutions entered and exited volatility. Big buy here, some selling up here, comes back down. I don't know if this is covering or buying, doesn't matter. But this trade here, even before it arrived, we could suspect that it might be coming. And then when it did hit, we got that retreat and the indexes bounced again. So that's it. Then we have UPRO. This is Thursday going into Friday. And this was, I'm only bringing this up just because it was an interesting trade. This trade was 1 million shares here, which is pretty large for UPRO. This is the 3X SPY ETF. It came at the end of this little run here. I wasn't sure, or it wasn't clear to me if this was selling what they had bought down here at the low, or if this was buying in anticipation of the next day. I ended up thinking it was probably a buy, but I didn't have a huge amount of confidence for it, just because we'd had that big sell-off already, and it's hard to say what it was, but we didn't really get much here, but we did get more sell. I don't know if it's a sell yet, but this was Friday's close. So we got a big UPRO trade here up after a spike, got a little bit of a dip, and then a lot of consolidation here. This I thought was buying then, it may have been, but we didn't really get a huge reaction out of that much. If it was 1 million shares of UPRO bought here, I wouldn't have expected it to dip below, and I would have expected the reaction after the fact to be much greater than this. But it's something worth watching for next week. We also saw some SQQQ come in, which might be a little bit ominous as well. This SQQQ came in at the end of trading on the 23rd. If we just look at the 23rd, you can see that this 67 times larger than average trade, 1.29 million shares, came as it sort of declined down here. It suggests, I don't know, I'm leaning towards buy on this one. I'm not super confident, but the fact that it came in at 4:56 p.m. on a Friday afternoon, after the indexes had kind of struggled to get above this level that they were trading at most of the day. Forgive me, I'm a little slow here. Price came up on the 23rd. It tested this, rejected, tested, rejected, tested, rejected. Made a marginal new high, rejected. It traded up here the whole day. It wasn't convincingly bullish to me. It's still unclear what this is. We'll find out probably Monday evening, but But this much inventory after watching SPY and QQQ kind of struggle up here is concerning to me for bulls. I posted about this. I hope I'm wrong. But QQQ, same thing all day. Gets up, fails, comes up. This little trade here's a sell, fails, recovers, trades horizontally the whole day. And then at the end of this all, we see a big SQQQ trade. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. But I think I've gotten a little bit off track here. The whole purpose of this video was to talk about how we can navigate the ups and downs of the market by watching the institutional trades. So going into the week, we saw a place against which we could define risk. Every single stock had these disproportionately large trades, even by OPEX standards. We knew here this Microsoft one was a big deal. We knew that they sold, suggesting that things were going to be bearish. We saw QQQ come down, and I'll just pull up the chart for the whole day, or for the whole week rather. We saw it come down, big trade here. We could figure out it was a buy. We got confirmation of that overnight and into the open. We got a nice little rally. We could have traded long. And then we watched them sell all day up here, suggesting that this trade was over and they were going to take it back down. We never know how far they're going to take it down. I guess you could say we don't necessarily know they will take it down. We just know the probabilities are in our favor if we see that much activity as price fails to advance. But as price declines here, we get through this big cluster. These big horizontal lines are telling you where it's an important level it resides, and it slices right through it. It tells us that all this inventory that they bought up here was sold up here, take it back down. We got a little bounce into the end of the day Thursday, and we got chop on Friday. This is inconclusive to me. I could make an argument that it's bullish. I can make an argument that it's bearish. But the largest trades matter the most. This big one here told us what was going to happen on Tuesday evening going into Wednesday. This cluster of trades up here told us what would happen through Wednesday going into Thursday. Thursday was a big sell. I wouldn't have been able to project that we got that much selling, but I would have been able to tell you that if we sold down to this level and it didn't hold, that there was potential for much more, and end up being much more. So we'll see where this goes next week. That's it. Questions, send me an email, send me a DM. info@volumeleaders.com is the address for email. And thanks for watching. Bye.